So one of the exhibitions I'm particularly looking forward to seeing and watching evolve is in the Fabrica building. I'm sure you all know this wonderful building here in Brighton, the converted church, chapel. And here we're going to have what we call the House of Vernacular. And this is an installation show that I've been devising with Fabrica. It'll have 7 sets of work. And this will be basically a series of installations of vernacular photography. Now, vernacular photography, just to reconfirm, if you like, is photography that was done not to be great photos, but done for a purpose. And we have collected together 7 bodies of work, quite quirky, that we will make into an installation. So as you go into Fabrica, you're going to be leading your way through this path where you go from one installation to the next. This, for example, is a series of images that were sourced from the Archive of Modern Conflict. It's a wonderful, quirky archive in London. And they're street photographs taken in Bogota about 20 years ago of men wearing hats. This particular series, I think, will be projected it'll be used as a projection. Some we will have on the walls, others will be projections. This is a very famous Chinese photographer who was based in Amsterdam. His studio, which is called the Sotang Studio, closed down about 5 years ago. And this is from an extensive archive that you can find there. And these are portraits of babies and children. As well as this, I'm going to just mention a few of the other photographs that you'll see. We have a wonderful collection of the interiors of airplanes as used by African dictators, taken around the 60s and 70s. And for this, we're actually going to make the interior of an airplane with carpet on the wall, coming around like this. And also a remarkable body of work done by a photographer called Darshinger, who was commissioned immediately after the Second World War in Germany to document the rebuilding of Germany. And these are just fantastically posed pictures. All the things, again, the interesting thing about vernacular photography, you often find modern art movements and modern photography ideas reflected in this work, but done many years before they became the sort of cult part of the language we experience now. So the whole notion of these staged photos with these people is quite remarkable. And we were very keen to source an archive from Brighton, and here in this very same building we have the wonderful design selection, and within that we found a remarkable set of photographs of litter bins. It came from the Design Council archive, and we're going to be featuring this also in the Fabrica installation. So these are litter bins from modern Britain, particularly the 1960s and 70s. And the other major part that we have here is Lighthouse. I'm sure you all know this. And I've worked with Lighthouse over the last 8 months, and we've established a definite idea to do a portrait of the gay community in Brighton. You are well aware that we have a substantial gay community, a very important community, and we felt that this community hadn't really been discussed or analysed or documented in any particular shape or form. So we've taken this fantastic opportunity to do a series of commissions about this community, and we found and invited 2 gay photographers, 2 women, in fact, both from America, because we wanted this idea of someone coming from abroad coming into Brighton to document and do their interpretation. So we have someone called Zoe Strauss, who's a very exciting new photographer that's emerged in the last 5 years. She did a lot of community projects in Philadelphia. If you put her name Zoe Strauss into Google, you get this remarkable film about her, where she does this annual exhibition which she has in the underpass in Philadelphia. People come along and then take the prints away. But she's now been shown at the Whitney. She's very hot. We're very excited that she's accepted our invitation to come to Brighton. And then we have Molly Landreth, who's another emerging American photographer, and she is doing a project called A Queer Portrait of America. And she's been going around doing portraits, and she too will be coming to Brighton to do the work. So what I like about this is that the gay community will be addressed, the Brighton people will be addressed, So they have something to look at, but at the same time we're expecting a much bigger international audience, particularly for our opening weekend, which we launch on the 1st and 2nd of October 2010. So I think this duality of appealing to the local audience, but also trying to be international is absolutely key. And I very much like this idea that you arrive into Brighton, say on the station, you'll be given the newspaper, which will be sort of like a catalogue and map, and we're going to combine the Fringe to have both the Fringe events and the main events together in the same map, so people can walk around and enjoy and experience all the exhibitions by foot. We also are very happy to have our other partners in on the south coast. They will often put on shows in conjunction and response to what we're doing, but very much key to this is this notion of you can come around and walk around and experience the whole Biennial in one day. Here are some more Molly Landreth images. And this is just the face of the new website, which is going to be launched in November, which Helen mentioned. And I think finally, I just want to say a few things about the opening weekend. We really want to make this a must-see event. And this very room here will be the place where we're going to show films. And on the, we're going to have the openings, of course, on the Friday. On the Friday night, we will have the opening of the main festival. And on the Saturday night, we'll have the opening for the Fringe. So it means that people can come to the weekend and experience the 2 nights together. During the day on the Saturday, we're going to have all the photographers that will be part of the commission ones and the ones that we're going to show in the main programme, the new documents. They will be here doing presentations. And on the Sunday, we're going to start potentially with this newly made film, which we're going to premiere as do the world premiere here of this portrait of Gerhard Steidl. For those of you who don't know, he's probably the most influential person in photography right now. He runs the Steidl Press in Göttingen. These German filmmakers are currently making a feature film about him, and they've been following his activities. I'll just tell you one thing. Gerhard Steidl is the maddest person in photography. He does 300 books, he gets up at 5 in the morning. I've never known anyone who works so hard. And he took this German film crew, they're absolutely exhausted. He flew out to LA, he went to meet Ed Ruscha, doing his latest project with him, got back to LA, flew up to Portland, drove out to see Robert Adams, back to Portland, up to see Jeff Wall in Vancouver, flew across to New York to see Robert Frank and Joel Sternfeld, and then came back. And they did that all in 4 days. That's the sort of pace. And we have documentation of this, and we're going to be launching this in the morning on Sunday. And this, if you like, will be the open invitation to discuss the future of books and the future of photography, where we'll have some very stimulating panel discussions that afternoon. So, as well as that, we're going to have booksellers here. For the first time, we're going to invite people like Marcus Sharp to sell their books, other photography dealers from the UK, to really make it an exciting weekend. You can meet people, you can experience and meet the new photographers. So it's going to have an absolute buzz. And as I say, we're also going to be launching and explaining our festival when we do the final programme in June or July next year, where we have the new documents part of this. But we're also going to be launching this at the Arles Festival to actually tap into that phenomenal wave of interest in photography that you can find in mainland Europe, which of course will come to Arles naturally. So it's going to be a very exciting event that opening weekend. You all have to come. I hope you do. So that really is just a small introduction. I'm not showing you everything if you like, but just gives you a taste of the spirit of what we hope to achieve in October 2010. Thank you very much.